everybody, welcome. I'm Howie Howard from Mr. Furious Records. This week on Dat Fury Radio, a meditation, and it's appropriate. I'm in not a particularly meditative mood, but I'm at a point of likely transition, good transition in my life, exciting transition, but going to be some upheaval. Can't break the news yet, but looking very likely. And wanted to talk today about shopping on Discogs and what that does for me from a Buddhist perspective. I don't consider myself a Buddhist, but I've got a lot of wisdom and meditation miles out of that tradition, particularly one short internet article, which I will link to. So today's topic, why it's good to shop on Discogs from a Buddhist perspective, or a humility perspective more generally. So the piece I'm going to link to, I first encountered this piece around 2005 or 6. The date on it currently is 2017. It's been reposted as sites have moved a couple times, but it's called The Four Seals of Dharma Are Buddhism in a Nutshell. I cannot pronounce the author's name. I cannot even hazard a guess. But I encountered this in my internet travels 20 odd years ago, and it stuck with me. And I meditate on it a lot. I don't mean I sit on a cushion and close my eyes. It's not that type of meditation. I'm sure that type of practice would be good for me, but I don't currently do it. What I mean is I keep these seals in mind a lot when I'm driving around, when I'm washing dishes, when I'm writing songs. Another pod idea would be to go through some songs of mine that touch on these seals, because there's more than you might think. And I keep them in mind when, sometimes making decisions or going through challenging situations. Not everything about this article is perfect. Some of the examples I think are a little odd. But the core insight, the core meditation has been really important for me. So here's the four seals as the author puts them. First seal, all compounded things are impermanent. Everything that comes together comes apart, and everything is a thing that comes together. Therefore, everything will eventually come apart sooner or later. Second seal, all emotions are painful. And that's a tougher one for me. I wrestle with that. The article goes more into it and talks about how another way of putting that is that all that is dualistic is painful, but all emotions are dualistic, and it's kind of provocative in a good way to phrase it as all emotions are painful. And yeah, I don't know about that one. It's been good for me to wrestle with. I know that much. But I think about some of the things that I enjoy, some of the pleasures and loves of my life. I think about my cats and their enjoyment of different things and how present they are in their bodies, and I wonder about that one. That's as is appropriate. That's something I meditate on. Third seal, all phenomena are empty. They're without inherent existence. I see that as related to the first seal, in that everything we take to be real is a construction in our minds, and when you dig down into it far enough, you find nothingness. And the fourth seal, nirvana, is beyond extremes. And another way of putting that, which again the article touches on, is that nirvana, you can't think of, like, take pleasure, for example, and just think, if we could ramp the pleasure up to maximum and make it permanent, both of which are impossible. But if we could, that would be nirvana. And the seal is saying, no, nirvana is something different from that. So that's my short version of the 4 seals. Now, what does that have to do with shopping on Discogs? I'll get there. The way I like to shop on Discogs, which if you don't know is a great marketplace for mostly used physical media, CDs and tapes and records and stuff. I generally go in with one specific album I'm going to buy. So I search for that album, and I'm going to filter to ship from the US and the format I want, whether it's CD or LP. I'm going to look through the sellers and then find a seller selling the album for what I think is a reasonable price that also has 2 to 5 to 10 to maybe up to 20,000 other items for sale that I can browse through. And I have a very specific Discogs shopping practice. I will get the items from this one specific seller, because I'm like trying to do a big order and get the free shipping, right? I'll get the items for sale down below 20,000, because that's the maximum pagination that Discogs will do. I will sort by artist, A to Z, and 250 items on a page, and I can just page down and I can flip through so much stuff so fast and come up with my order of 5 to 8 to 10 items, usually all from the same seller. And so here's where it links up, right? In those shopping excursions, I will come across so many artists I've never heard of and whose music I will never hear, with big discographies, and on big labels. And it just reminds me that nobody hears everything. No music is forever. If we look at our creativity as an immortality project, it is doomed to fail. And there's a real comfort in that for me. There is some unease as well. There's a part of me, the egotistical part of me, that would like everyone in the world to hear my music forever and ever until the death of the universe. But another part of me knows how irrational and weird that is, and how not everybody could have that. Nobody can have that. And even if somebody could, it'd be a limited number, and it would get stale. And while there is that ego-driven part of me, it's not the totality, and it's not the best part. I've pulled up Discogs here, and I'll flip through. Maybe I'll even share my screen. I won't worry about it. But I just pulled up something. I put in a Gangstar record I don't have. Went through the process I described earlier, and skipped ahead a little bit. And I'm here looking at albums. $4 for a used album by Billy Currington. Never heard of Billy Currington. It's on Mercury Records, relatively big label. He's wearing a backwards hat. The album's called Enjoy Yourself. Looks like country, probably, or some type of singer-songwriter. And, yeah, who's Billy Currington? He may be great. Maybe I'd love him. I don't know. Maybe you're a Billy Currington fan. I don't know. This could have been put out any time in the last 35, 40 years. Next up, Billy Dean on Capitol Nashville. He's got a greatest hits record. $2 used on Discogs. Near mint condition. I don't know Billy Dean. I probably never will. He'll never know me. That's okay. Everything compounded comes apart. I think you get the point. I'm gonna skip ahead just 10 more pages and see what comes up. I'll make it 20 more pages. This seller has a lot for sale. Actually, more than 20,000. And of course, there's, hits and stuff I know, plenty of that as well. Four Lads, sure. Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, sure. Four Tops, love the Four Tops. Here's about 15 Four Tops records for sale. Foreplay, sure, know who they are. Oh, here's a fun cover. Frank Marino, Full Circle, on Steamhammer. I have no idea what this is, if it's pop, if it's rock and roll. It looks like it's from the late 70s, early 80s. Frank Rosalino, Four Horns and a Lush Life. No idea. 9 people have it. And then we're into Frank Sinatra. So, and that's the yin and yang of shopping on Discogs. And yeah, I find it fascinating. This is music. These artists I'm mentioning that I don't know, this is music that made money in all likelihood, if we care about that. It's sold well. One of those Franks had a greatest hits record, and it's essentially forgotten, except for maybe the artist's family, their friends, their super fans, and soon enough that will be forgotten. Everything compounded comes apart. That's something to sit with, at least, whether you believe it or not, whether it resonates with you or not. I think it's something good to sit with. It helps me to remember that everything compounded comes apart. I think I'm going to go out on a song. I don't know what Joel had in mind when he wrote this song. This is a song by Five Star Crush, written by Joel. Music and lyrics called Transience. I'm not sure fully in what sense he meant that lyric and that title, but it's a good tune. It's related. This is a good excuse to play something different. So, meditate on transience. I'll see you next week with a guest on Dat Fury Radio.
This is transient.
You're not
Thank you. This is gonna be our last one. Appreciate it, guys. It was really short, wasn't it? That's alright, we're gonna be hanging around. We'll make the night last longer. With our charm. I don't know what I'm talking about.